Welcome to the deep dive. So today, our mission is to sift through this massive stack of underlying performance data, trainer notes, and tactical analysis to help you understand exactly what is happening at the legendary Bjerke track in Oslo, Norway. So let's just jump right into the fire with V85-1. We're kicking things off with what I can really only call the Marathon Mirage.
That's a great name for it.
It is a grueling 3,140-meter stayer race, and it's a volt start.
It requires immense discipline from both the horse and the driver. And navigating that chaos successfully is, well, it's exactly why the betting public is flocking to Sven the Forestman.
Right, because he drew track one.
Exactly. On paper, given Bjerke's geometry, he takes the lead, sets the pace, and controls the marathon.
Right, but I'm looking at the consensus data here, and I really have to push back. So what does this all mean? Are we really saying the horse with the absolute best starting position in a 3-kilometer marathon is basically just a rabbit?
Yes, pretty much.
Like just setting the pace for the heavy hitters in the back? Track one is gold, so why wouldn't he just run away with it?
Because of the aerodynamic and physiological drag of leading, in a grueling 3-kilometer race, the early leader acts as a windbreak.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they exhaust themselves fighting off mid-race pressure from challengers who are just testing their resolve. By the time they reach the final stretch, their lactic acid is absolutely peaking.
So they're just burned out.
Completely. And this perfectly sets up the horses starting 40 meters back in the handicap. The raw power in this race sits in the back, specifically with Harpy, driven by Robert Berg.
And Harpy is stepping out barefoot today.
Over 3,140 meters, that slightly longer, lighter stride translates to a massive conservation of energy.
Incredible.
And along with Harpy, you have Berthus Ankere, who is an absolute powerhouse seeking redemption after a recent gallop. And Hobart, who is incredibly dangerous, running barefoot all around. The marathon basically swallows early speed.
Wow. Okay, so from the slow burn of a marathon to an absolute pressure cooker. Let's move right into V85-2. This is a highly tactical 2,100-meter auto start duel. I'm calling this one the Italian Brawler versus the Norwegian Flash.
I love that. That is a brilliant way to frame it because the physical contrast between these two favorites is just staggering.
Right, so we have Garbino, this Italian-born horse, coming in hot with 3 straight wins. He is tough as nails. He doesn't mind doing the dirty work, taking the outside lane, grinding his opponents down. But going up against him is Look Like Gaga, making a highly anticipated debut for a new Norwegian trainer. And here's where it gets really interesting. It's like watching a heavyweight brawler who absorbs hits going up against a quick strike fencer.
Exactly.
Can a fencer really hold up when the brawler starts leaning on him in the final turn?
Well, in this specific matchup, the underlying data overwhelmingly favors the fencer. Look Like Gaga is lightning fast out of the gate. Training reports indicate he is highly prepared, even despite a layoff.
And he's running barefoot.
Yes, and in an auto start, over 2,100 meters, getting to the rail early is everything. The consensus expects Look Like Gaga to seize the lead immediately.
Just gun it.
Just gun it. And when a horse with his specific fast-twitch muscle fiber profile gets to the front and runs barefoot, he establishes a rhythm that the brawler simply cannot disrupt without breaking his own stride.
So the brawler is neutralized.
Basically, yeah. For many people building their strategies today, Look Like Gaga is a prime banker. A foundational single pick you build your entire ticket around.
So you lock in your fencer and you feel great. But then you walk right into V85-3, which we just have to call the upset minefield.
Oh, absolutely.
You thought the last race was a clear 2-horse duel. This one is a chaotic free-for-all in Class 3. We know these lower class races feature horses that are still developing their consistency. The data models often struggle here.
They do, because a horse can completely transform from one week to the next. A slight adjustment in gear, a different bit in the mouth, or honestly just a boost in confidence can turn a middle-of-the-pack runner into a world beater overnight.
Right. So the public is leaning towards Beautiful Disaster, who is fast out of the gate, and La Liga Boy. Now, La Liga Boy has the absolute top driver in Erjan Kihlström, but he drew a terrible position out in track 12.
Very tough spot.
But reading through the stack of notes, the hidden gems here are wild. You've got Ready for Cash running barefoot, Gibson Broad, and then the ultimate sleeper, Come Queen.
Yes, Come Queen.
She is sitting around 1% in early betting, yet the training reports on her are absolutely glowing. Plus, Axios is a massive threat if they pull his shoes.
This race is prime conditions for a massive upset that wipes out half the tickets simply because the public is staring at the printed numbers instead of the mechanics.
You have to look past the printed page and read the actual horse.
Yeah.
That unpredictability is what makes those lower classes wild. But let's shift gears entirely as we move into V85-4.
The cold blood.
Yes, the Jacob Myers Pokalop. A clash of the cold bloods over 2,140 meters. We know the cold bloods bring a completely different physical profile to the track. Heavier frames, massive stamina, a rougher gait. It's a beloved Nordic tradition.
And in this field, we have a towering figure, Nestijo Tier. He is a winning machine on a 3-race streak. He is the heaviest favorite of the entire day.
Wow.
And frankly, the pure performance data supports his absolute dominance.
Wow.
However, and this is a big, however, he's starting from the back row, track 11.
Right, and this is where I need to understand the physics of the track. If he is so vastly superior, doesn't sheer power just overcome a bad starting position?
Not always.
I mean, you have Gigantiter, a 5-year-old Derby winner stepping up against older horses, and Grizzle Torgiel, who absolutely crushed his opposition recently. With all those strong horses in the front, how much energy does Nestor Jatir actually waste coming from back?
It is an enormous physical toll. It's not just about running further, it's about lateral energy.
Lateral energy.
Yeah. Starting from track 11 in a dense field is like starting a car race at the back of a narrow grid. You cannot just run in a straight line. Nestor Tier will have to weave through physical traffic, break his rhythm, swing 3 lanes wide into the turns, and accelerate while turning.
Sounds exhausting.
It's a geometric nightmare. Every time he pulls wide, he is running significantly more meters than the horses on the rail.
So the king is strong, but he's basically fighting gravity and geometry.
Exactly. And beyond Gigantiter, the data screams at us to watch out for Vojvodino. He is a massive threat. In his last race, he lost purely due to bad luck. A literal physical collision with another sulky that broke his stride. Yeah. If he gets a clean trip today, and Nestjo Tier burns too much lateral energy navigating traffic, Vojvodino could absolutely steal this race.
We just talked about stamina and lateral energy, which is actually the perfect setup for the exact opposite scenario in V85-5. Welcome to the bronze division.
The sprint.
Yes, a pure speed 1,609 meter sprint, a true adrenaline rush. And looking at the tactical setup, I'm calling this the overpace trap.
It is the textbook definition of an overpace scenario. In a 1,609-meter sprint, the start dictates everything. Drivers are desperate to find the rail before the first turn.
So Excalibur Gene is taking a lot of betting money, but he drew a poor track. The real focus from the sources is on the inside speedsters. We have Mago Launcher, who is known as this incredibly offensive, stubborn frontrunner, and Mr. Kabuki, who is perfectly placed in track 1 to just gun it from the start. But here is my thought. Standard-bred horses have a massive aerobic capacity, but they aren't machines. If everyone guns for the lead in the first 500 meters, don't they just hit a physiological wall?
Yes, they absolutely do. And that wall is lactic acid. The statistical consensus points to exactly that happening today. When 2 or 3 speedsters refuse to back down and yield the lead, they create an unsustainable tempo.
They just burn each other out.
Completely. They push past their aerobic threshold. Lactic acid floods their muscles, and their legs literally cannot maintain the stride frequency. They hit a wall. And this scenario perfectly, almost beautifully sets up the off-the-pace closers. The data highlights 2 massive threats sitting just behind the leaders. I Ain't Nuckwitter, who has the specific stamina profile to pick up the pieces.
And the other one?
Phantom Jet. Phantom Jet is particularly dangerous today because he's driven by Erjan Kihlstrom and running barefoot. Kihlstrom is famously known as the Iceman for his patience.
After navigating all that chaos, you really need a breather. And V85-6 offers exactly that. We are calling this the consensus anchor.
A pillar.
Yes. Every deep dive into a massive betting pool needs a foundational pillar. A horse where the variables align so perfectly that you can confidently build the rest of your strategy around them.
And today, that pillar is Kiss My ID.
Okay, let's unpack this. He's starting from track 1. We already established that Jerk's track 1 is gold. He is driven by Kihlstrom, and his front shoes are being removed for optimized speed out of the gate.
Perfect setup.
But wait, if Kiss My ID is such a mathematical certainty, aren't the odds going to be so heavily skewed that he's practically worthless for building a high-value jackpot ticket? Doesn't the data ever account for the psychological pressure of being the undisputed anchor? What if he gets challenged?
Well, this raises an important question about value versus security. Yes, his odds will offer very little return on their own, but In a multi-leg jackpot like the V85, a near certainty in one race allows you to spend your betting capital spreading wide in the chaotic races.
Like the lower classes or the marathon.
Exactly. As for the pressure, a dominant horse dictates the race flow. Kiss My ID is so fast out of the gate that he eliminates the variables of traffic and lateral energy we discussed earlier.
He just skips all that.
Right.
Yeah.
The only real challenger on paper is 9 Points King. He has the raw engine to compete, but he has a well-documented tendency to gallop, meaning he breaks his trotting stride and is disqualified.
Okay.
If 9 Points King makes a mistake, Kiss My ID will dictate the pace, control the flow, and cruise. You need this anchor to survive the day.
So you have your anchor, but the very next race, V85-7, completely flips the script on how we define a favorite. This is the highest class of the day, the Gold Division Titans and the Gunnar Eggins Minislop.
The sheer quality of the horses here is staggering.
It is a phenomenal field. But the entire narrative revolves around an epic clash between two global titans. We have Diva Ek, this absolute Italian supermare. She placed second in the Yonkers World Championship in New York.
The elite on a global scale.
Truly. And against her is Melby Jinx, a highly seasoned elite Loppet competitor. It's like seeing $2 million sports cars revving at a red light. But here is the twist that threw me. Melby Jinx is stuck out in track 8. The worst possible starting position on the front row. And his trainer has actually announced to the press that they plan a passive drive.
Yeah, they did.
Why on earth would you willingly bench your sports car in a Gold Division race? It feels counterintuitive to everything we've talked about.
It does. But we have to look at the macro strategy in elite horse racing. We aren't just looking at one race, we are looking at an entire season.
Okay.
For horses of Melby Jinx's caliber, this is early in their campaign. Their ultimate goals, like the Elite Loppet in May, which is the pinnacle of the sport, are months away. Trainers absolutely will not empty the tank, risk lactic acid overload, or risk mechanical injury in March from a terrible starting position.
So winning the battle today isn't worth losing the war in May.
Precisely. A passive drive means the driver will deliberately drop the horse to the back of the pack, let it stretch its legs in the slipstream, and maybe sprint the final 200 meters just for cardiovascular fitness.
Just a workout.
Pretty much. Because of this highly publicized passive strategy, the statistical consensus almost unanimously crowns Diva Ek. From her vastly superior starting position, she is expected to take the lead and completely dominate the field without facing the early, aggressive pressure Melby Jinx would normally apply.
We've reached the summit, V85-8. The 43 million SEK jackpot culminates right here in the marathon finale.
The big one.
A grueling 2,600-meter mares race, and it features a sport trapper. And in this incredibly deep field, the Rick Ebbings stable duo completely controls the public narrative. You have Olympia Schirmer coming in with 3 straight wins, and her stablemate, Fantasia Schirmer, who is racing barefoot behind and absolutely dominated her comeback race.
Bettors are heavily anchoring their final hopes on these two.
Right.
They are magnificent horses, but I strongly advise you not to get lazy at the finish line. The Ebbings duo is strong, but 2,600 meters combined with the geometric nightmare of the Sport Trapper handicap makes this a field full of hidden landmines.
So spread your bets.
Yes, if you survive the first 7 races, this is the exact moment where you must spread your focus and look for the upset.
Who are the landmines? The underlying sources point aggressively to LA's A Million. She is stuck way out in track 15 because of her high earnings, meaning she starts in the absolute back.
Very tough savant.
But the raw data suggests she is arguably the most talented horse in the entire field. Can she really overcome 14 other horses over 2,600 meters?
Over a short sprint? No. But over 2,600 meters, the race breaks apart. Fatigue sets in, gaps open up, and pure stamina becomes the deciding factor.
So she has time to work through the pack.
Exactly. And she isn't the only one. You have Jolin and Direction Face, both highly dangerous, both optimized running barefoot, and both capable of sustaining a brutal, grinding pace over long distances.
So you have favorites dealing with traffic and long shots with the stamina to grind them down.
Right. When you factor in the distance, the physical toll of the Sport Trapper, and the sheer desperation of the final race of a jackpot day, a favorite winning is far from guaranteed.
It's wide open.
It really is.
A huge thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Whether you're building a ticket or just love the intricate strategy of the sport, we hope you're walking away with a much sharper edge. Good luck navigating the Bjerke jackpot.